Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to AniYayAniNay. As always, I'm your host, John.
And I'm Joey.
All right, let's get started here. Hello, you guys. Thank you for joining us back on our splendid podcast known as AniYayAniNay. Of course, before we get started, we'd like to give a big shout out to all our fans who have been supporting us. Thank you very much.
We greatly appreciate it and greatly love you all.
Yes. I hope you guys all enjoyed the comic book and toy show from our hometown of Columbus, Georgia. I know, as I said before, not a lot to see, not as much as probably, I don't know if a lot of people were expecting to see more, but when you come from a small town, you kind of get small events.
Yeah, we've always had some small events over here in this area.
Yes, but today we are continuing with a big, I guess you can say kind of a big event, because we are continuing with our review of RWBY Ice Queendom, this time with episodes 7 through 9.
What? 7 through 9? What?
Yep. We finished off at episodes 4 and 6, so today we're going to be reviewing episodes 7 and 9 with you guys today.
7, 8, and 9, not just 7 and 9.
7 through 9 is better words. Is that better for you?
Hey, you can't just say 7 and 9, because if you go 7 and 9, right, they're going to be like, well, what happened to 8?
Okay, fine. Then I say 7 through 9. Okay, but let's get started with this. We did say that at the end of 6, we were not happy with kind of how it ended. Like, you know, we see John kind of get thrown in there and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we didn't like how that kind of ended. And honestly, if I had to say something about this, these episodes kind of made the show kind of, how can I say it, predictable. They weren't like episodes 4 and 6.
Nah, they were basically predictable. I mean, some of the stuff that happened in it, like, technically, you know, they weren't predictable, but, like, most of it was basically, I mean, you knew what was coming, just not how it was coming, basically.
Yeah. At least that's how we see it. But then again, when it comes to certain shows like this, you usually catch things that you know are coming, and then there are certain things you don't catch. But, I mean, let's just first start with episode 7. In episode 7, of course, we got Jean in the mix with Team RWBY, basically, you know, going to save Weiss now. And, of course, we got the lovable doofus back. The way she predicted him, she predicted him as incompetent, giving him a giant-ass sword that he couldn't even use. Because every time he held it up over his head, he dropped it behind his back.
Yep.
And he kind of looked like a doofus because he didn't even have any unique armor. He just had a beanie and and gloves. So that was kind of funny, in a way. And basically, though, this was the first time they actually used the train, though. And that was like the easiest path, it seemed like. That got them into the city, no problem.
Yeah, for sure. They decided to take over the train and use the train to get into the city. And, yeah. I mean, that worked. She let them in, you know.
Yes. But basically, they made John kind of more I guess you could say more of the hype in this episode, because since he was unaffected by the nightmare, already being a victim of it and overcoming it, they kind of ignored him. But of course, he kind of like had that allergic reaction kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
He was always scratching his nose and coughing. And then we go into the cage and we get these things called sillies, which were basically child Weisses.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say that's her internal emotion of happiness, kind of like the emotion she tries to hold on to. That's why it's locked away.
What it is I feel like what it is the factor that she's trying to be the heir to the Schnee Dust Company for her dad, but her feelings don't want to be that, and that's why she's got them locked away.
Yes. It's one of her feelings that she keeps locked away. They eventually grow big, like insanely big, like giant big.
Yeah, you know.
And we get Team Juniper, the rest of Team Juniper, and they're like fighting against them for a brief moment. I don't even think they had their weapons, except for Pyrrha. She seems more like the damsel in distress, kind of the complete opposite of who she is.
And actually, they did show a scene whenever they was trying to fight for freedom of Dang, I done forgot their names now.
You mean Nora and Ren?
Yeah, Nora and Ren, whenever they had their weapons.
Yeah, they did have their weapons for a second, but then of course they like got turned against them by the nightmare going against them, and then of course they got put back in their cage.
Yeah.
Which actually leads us to episode 8, because in episode 8 it's still like Jean's still the hype man, and then his sword has special powers keeping the nightmare away, because when it gets stuck in the train, when he's hiding in there with the rest of the sillies and Pyrrha, the nightmare can't come near him.
Yeah. And then the nightmare had basically got a hold of Ruby, you know, and basically the sword was able to help with that.
Yeah, well, yes, but that before we actually get into that, that's where I want to say this was where it started to get predictable.
Yeah.
Ruby getting caught in the nightmare. I had a big feeling that was coming out.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to happen within the dream, but I was expecting for her when she came out that all of a sudden she was going to leave, like maybe upset because she couldn't help Weiss or keeps failing to save Weiss, and then Yang and Blake are going to go find her, and then she's going to be passed out somewhere. Now, I mean, that was kind of predictable that Ruby was going to get caught in the nightmare. But then also, at the same time, Yang and Blake got thrown somewhere else. They got thrown to an evil mansion, I guess you can say, which is like basically it displays Weiss' hatred and
Towards
resentment.
the Faunus.
To the Faunus, the White...
Or the White Fang, really.
Yes, the White Fang, everything that she hates and despises was in this house. And actually, we got a black relic there, and that was meant to be Blake's.
Yeah.
Every single one of Team RWBY had a relic in there shaped like the same relic that they got when they formed their team.
Yep. It was just depending on what their color was their relic.
Yes. But, I mean, then all of a sudden, moving into episode 9... we saw that Jean was able to break her out by just touching her with the sword. So then it makes you think, why didn't they bring him to begin with?
Facts.
This could have been over and done with now.
I mean, for real. But that sword also is Weiss's dream. So they possibly didn't know that was going to be in there.
Yes.
Just like he has a cloak in the dream. And the cloak is just messing him up, basically. I mean, and it's just because of the factor that he's just...
It's how Weiss views him as a klutz.
Yeah.
But, I mean, also with that, when we get more depth as well, when we get with Yang and Blake in the mansion of evil, I guess you can say, or hatred, we get them to come back. Yang gets Bumblebee out of nowhere with her motorcycle. And then... I didn't like how Blake's look came in. I mean, yes, it looked cool, but it was like, is she supposed to be Adam or Raven here? Because Raven is not even in this show yet.
I mean, I felt like she was supposed to... I felt like, really, truthfully, I wasn't sure if she was going back to the White Fang or what with it, because that's more of a White Fang mask, though.
It was Adam's mask, yes, but, I mean, her look also kind of symbolized Raven's look. You know, Yang's mom? The red and black, the way it looked. I was like, is this a play on Raven or something? I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, that threw me off too. Because Blake's mask wasn't like that at all.
No. Blake never wore a mask, basically, except in Volume 2, I think, just to sneak into the White Fang.
Yeah, that was it. But that's what I'm saying. But Blake's mask, because she never had a mask. I mean, until she went into that, and that was just the newbies masks.
Now, when Ruby got thrown into the nightmare, that actually kind of did show a little bit of a, you know, how she feels. It kind of looks like she fears failure. Failing people that mean something to her. Just like how Weiss has her emotions and everything. I mean, it just seemed like she felt like she couldn't succeed in helping Weiss, so the nightmare took advantage of that fear. And that's why it felt like her dream was like the princess being locked away in the tower. They're all being locked in the towers. Because that's how she keeps them held on to each other.
Yep.
But, I mean, overall, the episodes were still good, but it just seems like they were very predictable. I mean, even the way that kind of ending came in, it was kind of predictable with the way the sky started changing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, we're in the end. Now it's starting to get to the end point now.
Now it's starting to get to the end, and it's, at least of this episode, and then whenever it broke, it was definitely, the sky broke, it was definitely at the end. I mean, come on now.
Yes. But the one thing I like to say is that I just hope the final 3 episodes, episodes 10 through 12, are going to be, give us a good ending, because now it's starting to get kind of, in the predictable side. Like I said, I feel like, it could be all of Team RWBY's just going to save them, or it's going to be RWBY saving her, just RWBY saving her, showing like the love and emotion kind of thing. I was like, or, you could make it kind of more RWBY-fied. Instead of like saying that, maybe the Grimm takes Weiss's body hostage, since it's so strong now within her. Yeah. And they have to kill it to at least set her free. But we'll just have to wait and find out on that part.
There's a couple of different endings that could happen. But I hope it's not a predictable one.
Yeah, I hope it's not either. I mean, I really felt like, I thought, oh my God, Weiss is going to be sealed up for the rest of the show, because she finally went into the coffin with the apple on it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But nope, she came back out. That was the evil Weiss, I think.
Yeah, that was evil Weiss. But I mean, the whole point is that evil Weiss and kind of like Weiss, I think, are connected in a way.
Well, I mean, of course they're connected because they're the same person. It's just the evil Weiss is literally just the side of Weiss that wants to make her dad proud.
Yeah. The Geist Grimm is taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
Or Nightmare Grimm is taking advantage of that. Why did I say Geist Grimm? But anyway, besides the point, episodes 7 and 9 right now still keeps the show RWBY Ice Queendom on an Aniyay track on our end. Well, at least on my end. What about you, Joe?
I'm going to give it an Aniyay as well still.
Yeah, it's still on the right track towards an Aniyay.
Yeah, it's still on the right track. It's just got some predictable moments.
Yes, it's got very predictable moments, but it seems like this story, we knew the first 3 episodes was kind of like a recap of the first season. Now it's kind of like filler episodes between seasons 1 and 2. So which kind of makes you think, if they kind of keep this going and they make a sequel to this, it's going to be something completely different, probably about another character.
Yeah.
It's not going to be RWBY Ice Queendom season 2, probably not.
Yeah.
There'll be a season 2 of this, but it'll be probably about somebody else.
Maybe Pyrrha or something. You never know.
Yeah, it could be about Pyrrha or about Yang. Or
that's what I'm saying. You never know. It could be about Jean,
I would really like to know Pyrrha's backstory about how she became.
I would too.
Who she is, the star pupil, basically.
Yeah, I would too.
Everyone says like she was a star. She was
on the front of the cereal and all, like
the best
marshmallow Pete's, whatever. It was horrible for you and all.
Marshmallow flakes or whatever it's called. Pumpkin Pete's, I think is what it was called. But I mean, she didn't really have a connection to either until she met Jean.
Yep.
I think that was just because people kept putting her on a pedestal for so long. So I mean, there's that. I would really like to know Ren and Nora's story. I mean, we knew that when they were kids, their village was destroyed.
Yeah, we know that much.
And then we know later in the future they joined Beacon, but we don't know how they got to where they were, because Ren was more of the optimistic one. Now he's kind of the quiet, mellow one. And then Nora was the fraidy cat who became so optimistic.
Yep. That's what I hope they really do with this show, is kind of give us a backstory on all of them.
Yeah, because that's what I thought this show was going to be. It's going to fill in some holes, like it did with RWBY and Yang, kind of like how RWBY got to where she is in the beginning,
and how Blake got to where she is,
and how Weiss's choice got her into Beacon and stuff like that.
It showed you the team. It showed you what RWBY's team right now.
Yes.
And I'm really hoping the next one would be like Juniper, Sean's team, and then so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? Like you never know. They might just do it as in teams if they do them.
True, but I mean, they're only technically like 4 main teams, and out of the main cast, there's RWBY, of course, then there's Juniper, you know them. But of course, then we got Team Sun, Sun Wukong and Neptune. They're kind of a small group, and then we got Team Coffee, you know, with the mad-ass girl with the bag that turns into a Gatling gun.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about now again. I recognize the team name. I just didn't remember who was all in it.
I mean, the only other team I like them to kind of do a backstory on really is Team Stark. RWBY's and Yang's parents. Yeah,
that would be kind of cool to do.
I would really like to know
that way we have their backstory leading into their kids' backstories.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure they'll go into more backstories when the actual season ends.
Yeah, for sure. But
but that's basically it as of now for guys. But we will be doing a review on episodes 10 through 12 when they come out. But right now, 7 through 9 has got us still on the path of an Aniyay. But I would like to mention this to everybody because I got a message on one of our social medias. They asked us, since we have been doing reviews on RWBY Ice Queendom, will we be doing a review on Volume 9? And I think that's a definite yes.
Yeah, we'll do a review on it. I just gotta have the time to actually watch it completely.
Well, Volume 9 hasn't come out yet, of course. But I mean,
I'm just saying, like, whenever it comes out, I just gotta have the time because I might not be able to watch it right then.
Yeah, we gotta have time to watch it too. But I mean, we've been watching RWBY since the start of it. It ever came out. So I mean, yes, we definitely will probably do a review on Volume 9. So keep your eyes peeled out for RWBY Volume 10, and also keep an eye out for more future episodes. But until then, I'm your host, John.
And I'm Joey.
We'll see you
on the next one.